Hey everybody, and welcome to our recap of Slow Horses Season 5. This Apple TV spy thriller is based on the book series by Mick Herron, with Season 5 adapting the 2018 book London Rules in specific, and it follows a group of misfit underdog MI5 agents that, despite their shoddy reputation, continue to solve complex cases of crime and conspiracy. Now, if you guys like this recap, feel free to share it with a friend or just drop us a like, but for now, let's jump right into things, starting with Episode 1, Bad Dates. At a market square in London, a place called Abbottzfield, a man named Rob True pulls out an automatic rifle and he starts mowing down innocent civilians.
What are you? Dog? You're a dog!
After slaughtering nearly a dozen people, he stops to observe the square when suddenly a sniper shoots him in the head. This mysterious sniper then heads into a white van and disappears from the scene. Meanwhile, as he is heading to work, MI5 agent Roddy Ho is nearly run over by that same white van, only barely managing to survive thanks to his coworker, Shirley Dander. Suspecting that the driver might have been specifically targeting Ho, Shirley informs her boss, Jackson Lamb, but he dismisses her. Annoyed, she shares her thoughts with the rest of Slough House, an MI5 unit made up of banished and disgraced agents, but they discount her worries as well. However, an investigation of the Abbottzfield shooter reveals that he was an avid follower of Dennis Gimble, a right-wing parliament member who is now running for mayor. Heading to an event hall where Gimble and Zafir Jaffrey, the current mayor of London, will be holding a debate, Claude Whelan, the head of MI5, informs the two of the situation. During their conversation, though, Whelan has an argument with Gimble's wife, Dottie, who is a tabloid journalist. At a briefing at the MI5 headquarters, Diana Taverner, Whelan's second-in-command, is informed that an anonymous user on an incel forum was actually responsible for radicalizing Rob True. Evidence also points to that same person being the sniper that had subsequently shot Rob, revealing that the incident is all part of a larger conspiracy. Still convinced that Roddy's life is in danger, Shirley and Catherine Standish, the only other person in Slough House who believes Shirley's theory, decide to tail Roddy after work, and they spot him going on a date with a woman who is honestly way out of his league. At the same time, Slough House agents River Cartwright and Louisa Guy head out for drinks, and they talk about Louisa's recent decision to take a 6-month mental health break. While taking a walk, Louisa blindsides River by revealing that she is also not planning on returning. Wanting to move on completely from MI5, Louisa also asks River not to contact her for a while. After a night of dancing, Roddy and his new girlfriend, a Libyan woman named Tara, grab a taxi which drops Roddy off at his apartment and then heads off with Tara. Inside the cab, Tara pulls out her phone and messages somebody mysterious, informing them that Roddy is heading inside. Episode 2, Incommunicado. As Roddy walks into his apartment, he hears a noise, and terrified, he cautiously inspects his home room by room. When he finally makes his way up to his bedroom, he discovers that the intruder is actually Jackson Lamb. Having learned from Catherine about Roddy's date, Lamb had gotten suspicious and informs Roddy that he'll be spending the night to keep an eye out for any potential danger.
It's dodgy, but none of it raises my spidey senses as much as hearing that a real-life woman is happy to spend time with you.
Sometime later, the sniper from Abbottzfield sneaks past Shirley, who had been standing guard outside in the street, and quietly enters Roddy's apartment. Tiptoeing his way into the bedroom, he tries to shoot at Roddy, but is ambushed by Lamb and thrown out of a window. Alive but severely injured, the assassin runs away and manages to escape into the white van. Inside, he informs his leader, an ex-Libyan soldier named Farouk, that he failed, but Farouk assures him that he has done his part and the team can now move forward with the next step. When the assassin asks to be taken to a hospital, Farouk states that they cannot draw attention. And realizing what is about to happen, the assassin tries to run, but Farouk chokes him to death and then sets his body on fire to prevent it from being identified. After checking out Tara's supposed home address, River and Jason Coe, another Slough House agent, regroup with the rest of their crew at a restaurant, and they inform Lamb that the address was fake, making it very likely that Tara was purposely sent by someone else to compromise Roddy. The next morning, Whelan, while out on his morning run, is approached by a journalist on behalf of Dottie Gimble and is asked to comment on a story that Dottie is writing about Whelan cheating on his wife. Very panicked, Whelan runs off. Meanwhile, MI5 are able to trace the rifle that was used at Abbottzfield, and they realize that it is part of the same stolen crate of weapons as the gun that was used in Roddy's flat.
Shots were fired from a high-powered rifle at an East London address earlier tonight. Now, it's not the address we have on the system for Roddy Ho, but...
Roddy Ho?
Yes, it was rented under the name Clint Wolfe, which seems like a name that would only exist in Ho's head.
Angry at Lamb for not keeping them in the loop about the attempts on Roddy's life, Taverner arrives at Slough House with Emma Flight, the head of tactical operations at MI5, and places them all under house arrest at the office before taking Roddy away for interrogation. Episode 3: Tall Tales. While the crew are stuck at the office, the next stage of Farouk's plan begins to play out. All over the city, cars that were fueled from the petrol of a particular oil refinery start catching on fire thanks to a tainted fuel source. This begins to cause a massive surge in traffic all across London. Noticing a pattern, Coe states the attackers appear to be following a destabilization strategy that Britain once used to employ on other nations.
The destabilization strategy.
I was trying to allude to it rather than mention it in front of this unexpected company.
Yeah, well, the main reason not to mention it in front of everyone is out of sheer embarrassment at the batshit lunacy of it.
Number 3 is disrupt the transport.
Realizing that Coe is indeed correct, Lamb announces to the Slough House MI5 babysitters that the next step in their strategy will be to assassinate a populist leader. With Taverner and Flight not around, Lamb tries to get Flight's deputy, Devon Wells, to pass this information along, but assuming that he is just trying to trick her into ending the house arrest, Devon refuses. Left with no other choice, Lamb signals his agents secretly, and they all take down and tie up Devon and the other MI5 bodyguards.
What they do to him then?
Oh, he was free to go. As we are now.
What?
Now free to act, Lamb sends River and Coe to a rally where Gimble will be giving a speech, while Shirley and Catherine are sent to a similar event that Mayor Jaffrey is holding. Elsewhere, during Roddy's interrogation, a horrified Taverner learns that Tara tricked Roddy into showing her the MI5 database.
She wasn't even fussed when I showed her I could hack into the MI5 database.
You did what?
Chill, I was just trying to impress her.
Episode 4: Missiles. To everybody's surprise, Roddy's phone receives a message from a desperate Tara. Claiming that she was coerced into tricking Roddy, she asks for his help, and getting Roddy to call Tara back, Flight is able to triangulate her position, and they bring Tara in. In order to stop Dottie from publishing her article, Whelan shows up at Gimble's home with some files exposing Gimble's biggest secret. Despite being staunchly anti-immigration, Gimble's own father was actually an illegal immigrant.
But we both know that it's going to be a very big problem for your supporters when they find out that your father was an illegal immigrant and a criminal.
Threatening to end his political career with this bombshell, Whelan gets the husband and wife pair to back off of him. However, after Whelan leaves, a nervous Gimble tells Dottie that he actually managed to capture Whelan's threats on tape, but appalled that her husband has kept such a huge secret from her, Dottie leaves the room. Later that night, while at Jaffrey's event, Shirley spots a suspicious man, Farouk, and decides to follow him. Standing in the crowd, Catherine manages to get Jaffrey off the stage by belligerently interrupting his speech, and having lost the opportunity to assassinate the mayor, Farouk flees and escapes capture. Meanwhile, Coe spots Gimble practicing a speech into his tape recorder in an empty alleyway, close to where his rally is taking place. Positioning himself on some scaffolding, Coe notices Bowman, Jaffrey's campaign manager, approach Gimble, and the two get into an altercation. Coe then relays this information to River, who runs into the alley and manages to scare Bowman off after a brief fight. While River explains to a confused Gimble who he is and what's going on, Coe starts making his way down the scaffolding. Through a series of incredibly unlucky steps, Coe's movement causes a heavy paint can to fall on top of Gimble's head, and the right-wing politician dies on the spot. While standing there completely stunned, River is informed by Coe that even worse, Gimble had his tape recorder on the entire time. And bewildered by the turn of events, the two grab the tape recorder and start slowly walking away. Episode 5. Circus. Learning of Gimble's death from the news, Farouk and his two compatriots decide to proceed with the next stage of their destabilization strategy, which is to, quote, blind the enemy. Arriving at an underpass to debrief Lamb, River nervously tries to play off Gimble's death like it was an assassination, but his lie is quickly seen through. Forced to confess, he gives up the tape recorder and reveals that they were the ones who accidentally offed Gimble, much to Lamb's shock and irritation.
Oh, stay the fuck away from me, the pair of you. Hey, do me a favour. The next time you cross the road, do it with your fucking eyes closed.
At MI5, Tara is interrogated and reveals that Farouk and his men threatened to skin her alive if she didn't seduce Roddy and type in a secret code after gaining access to the MI5 database. While MI5's software team searches for anomalies within the database, Whelan talks with Tara and, after a great deal of convincing, manages to get her to agree to act as bait so they can catch the Libyan terrorist cell. Revealing that they'd arranged to meet with her at a subway station, Tara agrees to put a tracker in her jacket pocket and goes off to the meeting spot. However, while she is underground, MI5 lose track of Tara. A later search reveals that Tara left her jacket and is nowhere to be found. Simultaneously, MI5 run that code that Tara told them about in order to study it, and it switches all of their computer systems off, effectively blinding them. Stunned, everyone realizes that Tara was not some helpless victim, but had in fact been part of Farouk's team, only ever allowing herself to get captured so she could then get them to execute the code. Episode 6. Scars. The next day, as MI5 desperately try to recover their computers, Whelan receives a call from the Libyan embassy. On the other side, however, he hears the voice of Tara, who is currently holding the Libyan ambassador and his entire staff hostage. Announcing that this whole plan was to make Britain suffer for what they did to Libya, she demands a ransom of £100 million and safe passage for her and her team before hanging up the phone.
What are your demands?
£100 million. Compensation for years of lost oil revenues to be paid into a Cayman Island trust called Albion Holdings.
Unbeknownst to her, however, Farouk and his group's hate for Britain runs far too deep for money to simply extinguish. Abandoning her, they decide to then enact the final step of the destabilization strategy, which is to attack a place of worship. Hearing of Tara's demands from Diana Taverner, Lamb realizes that if the Libyans were going to attack a place of worship, the perfect target would be the multi-faith center at Abbottzfield, where a ceremony is being held to honor the victims of the previous shooting. While he and Catherine head off for the embassy, the rest of Slough House arrive at Abbottzfield and they try to get Jaffrey, who is speaking at the event, to evacuate the building. Seeing people are starting to leave, the terrorists enter the hall and they start shooting at the mayor, River, Shirley, and Co. However, by flanking the enemy and working together, the trio are successfully able to take the gunmen down. Simultaneously, Catherine and Lamb assist MI5 in capturing Tara. Realizing that his job is going to be in jeopardy for allowing this Libyan terrorist cell to run wild on his watch, Whelan decides to shift the blame onto Slough House and goes to their office to inform Lamb that he is shutting them down.
Yeah, let me guess. Judd gets to keep the commission on 100 mil for saying that he tried to warn me about the Libyans and Tara's connection to Ho. Yeah?
Checkmate.
Triumphantly leaving the office assured of his victory, Whelan suddenly hears his own voice threatening Gimble. As it turns out, having listened to the entirety of Gimble's tape recorder, Lamb had discovered Whelan's secret and his coincidental threat to harm Gimble on the same exact day he ended up dying. Now with the upper hand, Lamb tells Whelan just to accept the responsibility of his actions and to resign.
If you're not out of your office within the hour, I'm going to send this to every grubby little hack I know from my drinking days.
And left with no other choice, Whelan is forced to sheepishly agree. With Whelan done, Diana Taverner becomes the new head of MI5, and over a call, she tells Lamb that she will send Roddy back to Slough House as thanks. Happy with this new arrangement, Lamb shuts off his phone, and he fixes his torn socks, revealing severely burned and disfigured feet that were given to him by the Stasi, the East German intelligence service who had tortured him in the 1980s before killing his lover right in front of him. And that's it for Slow Horses Season 5. Another great season in my opinion, but what did you guys think? 5 seasons later, with another one on the way soon, is everyone still enjoying the series as much as we did in the beginning? Of course, we'll have a recap of the 6th season ready for you whenever it wraps up, but for now, feel free to check out our other recaps and videos on your favorite entertainment. If you liked this video, leave us a like and don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date on all of our newest content. We'll be back soon, but as always, thanks for watching.